Welcome everybody to the second season of Nice Arohana. For the first session, we have with us Sivaram Kupachi, the CEO of Samsters, a branding, marketing, and sales firm specializing in digital consultancy. So today's session is going to be about understanding the digital landscape, the content that you create, how to use social media, and of course, there is an end game that I'll leave Sivaram to introduce to you. But before that, to those who are joining us for the first time, Nice Arohana is a series of workshops, webinars that help you build and scale your businesses, innovate, try out new things, speak to industry experts, learn from them. So please do stay tuned. Visit our website, niceorg.in. And before we begin the session, I'll take you through a few ground rules. Because it's a webinar, you will be muted and you have a Q&A box. Please write your questions, be specific, try avoiding comments if possible. You can always get in touch with the speakers later after the session. Write us to arohana@niceorg.in. Visit our website to know more about NICE or about Arohana and other programs. The session is also being live streamed on Facebook. So if some of you cannot join us here, or if you want your friends and family to join, ask them to log into our Facebook channel. Do join the LinkedIn group to stay connected with the NICE community. And we also have a YouTube channel where you can see the first season of NICE Arohana and other videos. Keep a pen and paper handy. That will help you to go through the session and be more participative. With that, Sivaram, over to you.
Thank you so much, Arunima. Thanks, Team NICE. It's been really a nice team, and mostly thanks to all the attendees who are spending their beautiful sunny Friday late afternoon with us. I welcome you all to this end game. The given an hour, so we'll see how we'll use it up and actually have a small end game that we can play around with all of us to make it interesting. With this, I'll go on. Let me share my screen to see whether you guys are able to see it. Able to see this, Arunima?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Give me 1 second. Great. Friends, I have few of my colleagues on the call. Let me first quickly introduce them. I have Akansha Verma, I have Vinod, I have Atul, 3 of my quarterbacks who are going to take your questions and make this conversation meaningful for all of you guys. So when NICE and us spoke about it, we thought we'll share some of our knowledge, some of our experience with all the entrepreneurs who are here in seeing how we can take your brand forward. So we called it as the digital move, the end game. Truly, it's actually a start for all of us. Sorry. Before we start off, I know all of us are slightly getting relaxed through the lockdown. We are actually going through unlock. We're all, including me, are interested to go on a short vacation, dry out somewhere, just get freed up of the boredom and solitude that we had in our houses. So while we are planning a vacation, just ensure that we are vaccinated, stay safe. That's our humble request to all of us. With that, let me start. Today's agenda is going to be about 4-5 aspects. We're going to talk about a larger landscape of where does this brand what are the few other tools that we can start using up to help our content to be better. Once we have the contents, how we can actually have these content to be put on platforms, especially the e-commerce platform. What are the different marketplaces available? And then we into the end game, which is the digital clinic. Below the want all if you are an entrepreneur or a practitioner, what is that you relate to that? Please go ahead and put it on chat if possible. Arunima, is chat possible? Can they chat?
Yes, they can chat. They can put their questions in the Q&A box.
Perfect. Perfect. So just see this picture and see what you feel, what do you relate, either as an entrepreneur, which is owning a brand, or as a digital marketeer, what do you feel from this image? Just type in the chat. I'm going to just scroll through quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm quickly going back again for you guys to understand. Just have a quick recap what you guys see in this. Let me see chats or Q&A that are coming up there. Celebrations, work from home, working mother, weekend relaxation time. Okay, let me go back and tell you what I feel. Sorry guys, I'm going to go in the chat. I'm not able to go it. This actually, in my opinion, if you see here, a magician is trying to do magic in both these images. Here, the magician is trying to get attention of the kids in a birthday party. I feel this magician is an entrepreneur or a brand. Okay, while we are trying to get attention, truly, when we are trying to get attention like a magician in a birthday party, these kids are audiences. They have extremely what I call as continuous partial attention. And that's where, imagine we as entrepreneurs trying to do this job as even as a marketeer or as a brand. When we're trying to do something, here is this man is trying very hard. There's another lady who's doing something. The kids are watching something. He's got only one guy, he's got attention. Here, the lady is trying to do something. All the kids are all over the place. Truly, this is how our brands, as we are trying to do and reach out to our consumers in the market. Another side, these are consumers, right? There are consumers of different age, different color, different ethnicity, looking all over the place. While we are trying to go to these platforms and trying to communicate our brand message, they're actually, some of them are lazing out, sitting and watching somewhere else. This is truly the landscape that we are trying to communicate our products in the social platform. And these are the audiences actually. I use a word called as continuous partial attention that audiences carry, we all carry when we consume content on social platform, right? We are doing multiple things. And that 2 seconds when our ad comes on social platform, if I'm trying to take a call or I'm looking at a newspaper, I'm looking at a book, the investment that we as entrepreneurs and brand make on social media is lost, okay? And for me, that's the truth of me as an entrepreneur, me as a social media, digital marketing professional. I face this continuously every single day. So do we have a solution? Do we have a cookie cutter solution or a ready-made capsule or a Covishield or a Covaxin that we can take and ensure that we have attention of these audiences towards the brand, which is the purpose that I think we are all are looking at it. In my opinion, working for about 26 years in corporate and the last 7 years been working on my own business, very difficult, right? But we can have certain structured ways for us to ensure that at least some portion of these audiences' attention we'll be able to grab it. With that, let me first tell about where these brands and audience converge and how this entire ecosystem looks in the platform. I just sort of looked at putting a very large macro scale landscape. So one side you have the digital audience, other side we have us, which are the brands and entrepreneurs who are trying to converge, right? The audiences come through what I call as the gateway pages or gateways, which could be a website, e-commerce platform, through Google, through social media. And brands, we are constantly creating the assets. Assets could be a social media creatives, emailers, adverts, videos, and we are trying to have these assets through gateways, brands consuming it. Where I think we can all step up is the middle section, which I call it as the content and intent convergence of audience and brand. What I always say that when we publish content, let's put certain structure to our content, and I break them as informational content, instructional content, emotional content, and promotional content. We'll talk about it later downstream. And why we do it is because as an audience, who is consuming a content has got a journey of this audience. Okay, there's an intent of the audience who are consuming us on social platforms with this continuous partial attention, with distractions, with diversions. But there's a behavior that we expect from the audience to happen from this intent, right? And that's where I say that we should move this audience through a life cycle of a journey called awareness to knowledge to an attitudinal change, which is conversion to advocacy. I think largely this is what I do as a practitioner to engage with my audiences to ensure that I'm able to move the needle of the audience journey from an awareness to knowledge to attitudinal change to advocacy. That will help me to ensure that I have a directed way of reaching audiences, able to make them convert to start following my brand, and probably and hopefully to be an advocate to my brand. I have drawn this entire digital landscape as a periodic table because every periodic table has got metals and non-metals. That's how these entire 118 periodic elements of 94 and 14 have been put in. I call it as some of them are organic, some of them are paid. So as entrepreneurs, we need to know between our core assets, gateways, and campaigns. And I have multiple ways in which I communicate to my audiences, which could be through my website, through my commerce, through my mobile-based applications, through my social channels, and through my advertising channels, which are non-social. All these things, I need to have a structure, a framework for me to plan my organic and paid. As entrepreneurs, we all work with limited budgets. So we want to maximize whatever is possible in organic. So can we squeeze in the best possible outcome that we can do through organic, and then amplify that with certain paid so that we can get a better reach, better engagement, and eventually better conversion, right? So this is an framework that I sort of put in to leverage the periodic element, because I think that's a great structure for me to relate back to my larger ecosystem of digital landscape and connecting back to my audiences. Moving on, I now know that I have my purpose is to connect my audiences with my brand. For that, I need content, right, for me to connect. So as I told you, the audience is not a pointed audience. The audience is always in a journey. Whether we agree, we believe, we know it. Back of the mind, if I'm a user, because whom we are marketing, we are not marketing to Martians. We're marketing to people like you and me who are humans. And humans, in my opinion, is in a journey, right? Apart from certain ways of impulsive reactions to end content, he or she is constantly in the journey of trying to get more awareness of the brand, trying to assimilate knowledge about the brand. Eventually, if the point of time, so there are two things in marketing called as TOMA, which is top of the mind awareness, ITP, which is intent to purchase. So when I have an intent to purchase, I make that attitudinal change that I'll go and consume this brand. And then if I continuously get a better service, I become an advocate of the brand. I think this is a journey that we should constantly plan our campaigns. Our campaigns can't be spray and paint. Our campaigns has to be choreographed, orchestrated to ensure that this audience journey of awareness to knowledge to attitudinal change to advocacy is implanted as part of the larger framework of our content outreach. Once I have my audience journey mapped in, I need to prepare what I call as content calendar. All of us prepare content calendars. I've seen brands who have prepared content calendars. I think the biggest element in this, because there's so much distractions, so much diversions that the audiences are facing today, I think it's very important for us to have a structured way, not to sort of overload with content. So have a framework. This is some framework that we follow religiously, what I call as informational content that gives the audiences some information about the brand and process. Instructional content, which I'm actually asking the audiences to act on something. There are certain CTAs. Third and most important thing is emotional content, which actually connects the audiences, have an empathy about making them to feel your product, feel your brand, feel the ethos of your company, feel the values of your system. I think it's very important for the audiences to connect that. And once in a while, slide in a promotional campaign. So if you structure your 20, 30 posts in a month to move the journey from an awareness to advocacy, put this framework that you have certain posts, certain assets which are informational, certain assets which are instructional, certain assets which are emotional, and then slide in your business, which is your promotional, so that you have a better chance of converting the audiences into buying in your products or services. So with this, I have a small poll here. I have given 4 kinds of contents that we use on social platform. It is visible to you guys. Arunima, is it possible for allowing people to say which one is instructional, informational, promotional, and emotional content. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are given names. We just can go and put it in the poll. Arunima, can you help me out on this, please?
Yeah, they can't speak, but I request everybody to just number your answer. Like, just as put a number and then you can write your answer next to it.
Yes, I see Vidya. So Vidya saying that first is instructional. You're absolutely right, Vidya. Number 2 is emotional. Actually, there's another one which is slightly more emotional than the number 2, Mr. Vidya. Ms. Dr. Ankita saying first is instructional. I agree that an instructional first one is third is emotional. I see a lot of people putting third is emotional. Okay. Are you able to see the full screen back, Arunima?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me sort of tell what these are. So the first one is actually an informational content. So we are giving a content where they're going to read more. So there is no instruction that I'm saying them, right? Whereas if you see number 3, I'm asking them to take a test to know the DRQ. So that's an instructional content. So I'm telling my audience that if you want to have a practice, if you want to convert your belief to a practice, take a test. So that's an instructional content. Whereas number 1 is an informational content. Number 3 is to say that we as Zamsters are actually, our team are working in the back end through COVID times to carry your brand. That's what we do. So that's an emotional content to say that the team is bound while we are socially distanced. We are still, weaved as a social group and trying to work for our brands. And number 2 is actually promotional content because we are actually giving them a free digital clinic offer. So we don't post it directly like that. So we'll have a campaign that will have where we put in the right elements so that we have a better engagement of audiences when they start consuming our content through social channels. Moving on, so we talked about audience journey, we talked about content types, we talked about content buckets. Now we also have to have content metrics, right? What kind of metrics? So we need to have metrics that we do daily monitoring. There are certain metrics that we need to monitor weekly, and there are metrics that we should look at monthly, right? As entrepreneurs, we don't have big bandwidth for us to constantly monitoring it. There are downstream, I've given you some tools where you can automate this process, but observe this. Like things like profile visits, impressions, customer response time, I think it's an always on. We should be monitoring that on a daily basis. Follower gain versus profile visits. I think a lot of brands, a lot of entrepreneurs try to do it on a daily basis. It's like following a stock, whether you're doing a day trading or doing a position stock trading, right? I think weekly is a good metric for us to follow follower gains versus profile visit. So you have a time for us to optimize it and moderate it. Impressions versus engagement, again, is a good number for us to track on a weekly basis. Social media clicks versus website traffic, again, a good metric for us to do on a weekly basis because we can course correct it for the following week so that when at the end of the month we can look at things like follower gain versus profile visits, hashtag performances, best content type in terms of the impressions versus engagement, and publishing days and time. I think broadly, if you're able to structure our metrics, then we'll be able to really gain an insight about how do I move my audience from my awareness to my advocacy. Okay, so with this, the last one is the content format. So we talked about audience journey, we talked about content types, we talked about content metrics. There's also an important thing that I see, and when I follow social platform, people don't use the right format of post to go on different platforms. There are certain guidelines that are used. I'll be sharing these sheets for your Ready Reckoner in terms of content post. So there are certain ideal things in terms of the hashtags, in terms of how much description of characters you can do, what is the right approximate size of the format of post, which can be consumed well on different form factors. We have sort of listed in, this is for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. For LinkedIn, you have 3 different formats of posts that can go in depending on what you want to communicate. So there are 3 different formats of posts. Again, 3 to 5 hashtags is ideal for you to put in on LinkedIn. Preferably, we would say that 50 to 100 characters kind of a description will be ideal for us to ensure that we have a better reach of our post organically to our followers. Same thing applies for ads. Some of us actually run ads. Those were for regular posts. We run ads, whether it is Instagram ad, LinkedIn ad, Twitter ad, or Facebook ad. Even those have certain suggested formats of ad size, how much character can go as description, so that you have a better reach organically to reach to the audiences when you run these ads, when you do the right targeting as part of your ad set. So we spoke about content, we spoke about the brand and audience, we spoke about broadly what kind of content topics that we want to do. Now we need tools, right? We all of us can't go and hire the most expensive designer, the most expensive social media manager. We are all entrepreneurs, should have access to certain tools that we can start using them. Some of them are free, some of them are freemium, some of them are priced. But in my experience, though I have a design team, a complete full house team, I do a lot of things personally for some of my other ventures. I actually use these tools, right? So that I am independent of using these tools, ensure that I have a visual language, I have a design style, I monitor my page as well. So these are some of the tools. I've categorized them as design and platform tools for this session. In following sessions, I'll do a lot more tools on SEOs and content stuff. I think my experience, the 3 good tools for design is Canva, Design Wizard, and Adobe Spark. We have given a small insights about Canva, Design Wizard, and Adobe Spark. Canva is actually probably the most user intuitive in terms of how you can make your post. You can have right templates, right formats available for that. There are, in the free versions, there are certain standard templates available. You can upload your own templates. You can schedule. In fact, Canva allows you to do social media scheduling, right? I have Akansha here, who can talk about a little bit more about these design tools, both from design standpoint as well as performance standpoint. Akansha, over to you, please.
Yeah, Shivram. So now we don't need Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator for us to, make any kind of edits and design with the help of these tools. To resize your post, to come up with a design template, be it for anything, whether it is for flyer, poster, your social media, or even for offline use, even for WhatsApp as well. You don't even have to go ahead and put the size. The templates are available in the size, right to the format of the social platforms that require that kind of size. So I think this has made everyone's lives very easy and convenient. It's like a presentation format, and we can pick and choose any template that we want to. And also many apps are integrated within Canva itself. With the free one, I think what we can do is publish directly to Twitter and Facebook. The rest is still in the beta version. And with the premium, you can go ahead and integrate Canva onto your tool, which is Sprout, and Hootsuite, which is social media tools available, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. We can integrate those as well. So it's going to make our design and publishing easy with the help of these design apps, along with the publishing tools.
True. In fact, I also recommend people to start trying out Adobe Spark. A lot of e-commerce companies, a lot of D2C companies needs a lot of good editing on the small videos and small pictures. I think, for a $19 per month kind of a paid subscription, Adobe can give you some great results, very user-friendly, and you can start using these tools. Moving on, Akansha, do you want to give a quick insight about Sprout Social and Hootsuite, how entrepreneurs can use these platforms, please?
Yes. So Shivram, like you mentioned, there are few metrics which we need to take care on a daily basis and on a weekly basis. So it is difficult for us to kind of go ahead and check those on each and every platform where we are available. So Sprout Social and Hootsuite or such apps, social media tools, give us a dashboard view of every single performance, including our competition performance that we would like to look at. And there you get a dashboard view of your entire matrix, how many posts has gone, how are you performing on each platform against your competition, along with a facility of smart inbox, which help you respond to each and every query, question, comment, or any kind of engagement that you're getting onto your social platforms. So all you have to do is just log in onto any of these social, sign up yourself first and log on to these apps to make sure that you are up to date with your social metrics. Yeah.
Sorry. Again, if people are not using social tools, I suggest to actually look at Hootsuite. It's a pretty nominal fee per month, and then you can try out some great benefits you get by using Hootsuite. A lot of integrations happens there, publishing, scheduling, and stuff. So please start using the tools so that you'll be able to focus on your core work, which is your product and services. Moving on from here, one of the things that I got to know from the NICE team is that a lot of your NICE members are e-commerce companies. They have their own e-commerce portals. We also strongly suggest that while your native e-commerce platforms become mature enough to have the high volume traffic, it's good to have our products to be listed on certain marketplaces, right? And for that, I think a lot of people have asked me, and we do. A lot of people came to us at consulting that how would you choose a marketplace, right? I think 4 aspects. The framework that I use is 4 aspects. One is evaluate them on robustness. When I say robustness of the marketplace is how quick is the launch time for your products to go onto the marketplace? What are the kind of programs they run for member organizations? What is the CMS system? So the back end, how good it is for you guys to start uploading your catalog on your products. That's the first robustness. Second is popularity. Obviously, the number of users, number of daily visitors. More importantly, what is the marketing plan of the platform by itself, so that you can ride that tide when they market it. So there'll be more users coming into that platform, so that your brand will have better visibility. Third is ops support, whether it is shipping platform, their shipping plans, the delivery times. The third important aspect to evaluate a marketplace is operation support. The last and the least is obviously your commission that are taken. We have platforms who take it as low as 1% to about 30% commissions, payouts and discounts that they provide to you. I think probably in about a week's time, we're coming out with a very intuitive index of how to evaluate these marketplaces based on certain scores. Once it is ready, we'll share it with the NICE team too. But based on our experience and some of our consumers or customers or where we have seen traction, I've listed on few popular marketplaces. I have not specifically called out marketplaces which are very popular, like your Big Baskets, your Swiggies, your Amazons and Flipkarts of the world. Everybody knows that. These are some of the things which we think are very good that you should try now. Meesho is one platform, 2 million resellers, 70 million customers. In fact, I don't know the latest one as on today, but they start the commission fee as low as 1.8% as a commission fee. So good for categories, apparels, home appliances kind of stuff. A great platform with a good user engagement there. Next one is OneGreen.in, a good platform for pure, safe, natural, sustainable products, whether it is F&B or wellness. They have about 150 brands and about 4,000 products that are there. They promise free delivery. Again, commission ranges from the kind of product that you are putting on, the category that you're putting on, and your percentage of your product price. The next one is Qtro. Good one, 8,000 plus sellers are there, 10,000 plus curated products, 30 plus categories, deliver pan-India, very good for handmade goods, good marketplace for handmade goods. If you guys are not there, you can try this platform to Qtro. Craftsvilla is a good product primarily for Indian products, for clothing and accessories. Great products listed. They have a good website visits. There are about 12,000 already sellers available there, so you'll be able to get good traction if you're in that particular category of products. ST India, if you're looking at actually international market for you to buy your products, they have good 1.7 million sellers all there, close to about 400 million website clicks they have. The charges and listing fee is not very expensive, so you can definitely try ST India as one of your marketplaces for your handmade goods. We also have listed few other things like Auth India, the Indian Crafts House, LBB.in, RT Owl. All of them have got good presence. Pick your category, go back to the framework, apply yourself on the framework to see that which marketplace will be actually useful for you to be listed on there while you are growing natively your traffic for your own e-commerce website. At the same time, it's also important for us to be building our own Facebook and Insta store. A lot of brands don't invest a lot of time on Facebook and Insta store. It's very important time for us to invest on our FB and Insta store. A lot of reasons why people are not doing, because currently the version of Facebook and Insta store are actually driving them to the website. I'll have Mr. Atul, who is on the call with me to walk through why it is so important for us to have FB and Insta store as part of our fabric of social commerce. Atul, please.
Thank you, Shivraj. So the first thing to keep in mind is some basic metrics when it comes to Facebook and Instagram store. I'll then walk through the three different parameters that we need to observe while setting up the store. The first is whenever we are publishing a general post versus whenever we publish a product from the store as a post on our page, the impressions that we get is 20% higher. Also, whenever we are promoting a product which is listed on our Facebook or Instagram store, the results are 50% compared to general posts, results being visit to the website. So that is something which is critical to keep in mind. Now, setting up a Facebook and Instagram store is part one of what I'm going to explain. There are no setup charges. It's done in a very easy manner using Commerce Manager defined within your Facebook Business Manager. Instagram is then automatically tied in with your Facebook Business Manager, and then you can just have it you can take it live on your respective platforms. Users are direct. So there's another point. There are no direct sale option available on Facebook and Instagram store as of 2021. That option is available on a beta phase in USA, but it is expected to reach India by next year. Yeah, okay. So there's another point that we need to know is the interaction. What Facebook and Instagram store essentially does is it directs users from your social media platforms to your websites. Any customer feedback that comes in, any customer feedback that they will have, right? It comes in automatically to your DMs or comments, and it makes it very easy for you to respond to these particular comments or feedback. So these are the key points that you need to consider when setting up Facebook and Instagram stores. Give me a second. Yes, Lisa, I saw your comment. Facebook and Instagram shop is now operational in India. But again, the only thing it can do right now is divert traffic from social media to your website. Shivram, that's about it in terms of the summary.
Thanks, Atul. In fact, I've seen some of nice members having Shopify. Just wanted to make sure that you all understand how you can auto sync your catalogs on Shopify with Facebook and Insta Store. That's a great benefit so that you don't have to manage your catalogs in both the stores. Please start using that. That's a good feature. People who are actually having their e-commerce platform built on Shopify. So with that, again, we didn't want it to sort of load with a lot of content. You guys are we'll spend a lot of time on the Q&A. Before we go to the Q&A, what we have done is that we are in the process of doing something called as a digital readiness quotient and a digital amplification quotient. So DRQ and DAQ are a couple of things that we as Zamsters run with our own clients who come to us. So today we wanted to sort of, we're going to have nice to reach out this sheet with you guys just to know where we are on our digital platform. So Arunima, do we have our guest available to take the test with us?
Yes, Subhashish, please come on stage.
Perfect.
To everybody, Subhashish is a nice entrepreneur. He's the founder of Via Foods, which has launched Nutty Fox, smart and healthy snacking option. Please do try that. But before that, Subhashish, why don't you come on board and we have you here take the digital readiness quotient with Shivram.
Perfect.
Sure.
So thanks, Subhashish. Welcome. I will going to stop the screen and open the Excel sheet. Atul, do you want to do the test by sharing the Excel sheet? Or shall I do it?
Okay. I think I'll have to open it, Shivram, if you have it open.
I will open it up. Give me 1 second. Let me just share my screen.
In the meanwhile, I also request the audience to participate in it. You can take your scores parallelly down on a piece of paper for yourself.
1 second. Just see where to do 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen, Arunima?
Yes, we can. We can see an Adobe stock window.
Oh, you can't see my Excel Google sheet now?
No, we can't.
Oh, give me 1 second. Sorry. Okay, now we should be able to get it. Can you see now?
Yes, now we can.
Great. Subhashish, thank you so much for joining in. I would like you to just walk this through. So broadly, what we have done, Subhashish, is that we have broken the entire digital landscape. This is a readiness quotient. This is a first level quotient where we have given certain scores and weightages for the foundation assets, then for the content, and then for the outreach. I think with that, we can know how good we are and what is the simple thing that we should do as entrepreneur. So
Sure.
if you have the sheet, I'll ask the question and you can just tell the answer. I'll put the score on your behalf, Subhashish.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have an e-commerce site for your business?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have the Google Analytics set up for that?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you have the social media pixel code set up on your website?
Yes.
Great. Is your platform mobile responsive?
Yes.
Great. What is your website score? I mean, there are tools like SiteCheck.pro. There are multiple tools available in which you can check your e-commerce platform or website score check. Do you have an idea about your website score check?
I have, at the last check I did was in January. So I was really, that's something that I would say no to.
Oh, actually, we checked on your behalf. Your score is actually 80 plus. So I'm going to put 3. We just did a check this morning.
Okay.
So your score was actually 78 and 80 kind of stuff. So I'm going to put a 3 there. What social media platforms are you present on? FB and Instagram, or just FB, or both?
FB, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
Fantastic. So
and Pinterest.
Great. Do you have Facebook and Instagram shops set up?
No, so it says that my account is not eligible. I mean, it's not eligible for India market on Instagram.
Okay.
Is what I keep getting. So.
Okay, sure. No worries. What kind of do you use messaging services? You don't use it because you don't have it currently set up there. So I'm going to put it 0 there.
We use WhatsApp for business.
Yes, but I'm looking at more from an integration with your social platforms.
All right. Okay.
Okay. What is the current frequency of your post per month in terms of 14 to 18, 18, 8, 12, or 19, 22, or less than 8 or more than 22?
So we were doing between 19 to 22 posts a month.
Okay. That's a little bit too much. So I'm giving a score of 2. The ideal is about 14 to 18. What frequency of blogs you post per month, Subhashish?
I will say we haven't posted a blog since about 2 months. So that's something which needs to be updated.
Okay. What frequency of stories do you publish on Insta and Facebook?
So we do about an average of 1 to 2 stories.
Fantastic. That's the right daily to do. What again, when we went back, we saw this instructional, informational content, 4 types of content. Do you have a structure of putting the content, or you just put content to showcase your products? Any thoughts on that? You can either pick that I use all the 4 types, or I just use any 2 of the 4 types, or I use the same type of post on all my social platforms.
So we do a mix of all 4 types because that's the ideal format to reach out to our consumers.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Do you have a design language and design style guide set up for the posts?
Yes, we follow a certain pattern.
Fantastic. Do the images used for promotion follow the 20 text to image rule so that you have a more reach?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. How many hashtags do you use per post on each platform? 3 to 6, 2 or 7, or less than 1 or more than 7?
2 to 7 is on average that we do.
Okay, so I'll put about 2. Do you publish same time in terms of the same image in terms of the size across all platforms, or you customize it per platform?
No, we use the same image.
Okay. Do you publish your content at a consistent time every day?
Basically, we assess the time that it's being accessed by or it's being seen by the users. And based on that, we rework the time every month. Okay. So sometimes but most of the time that we've got the maximum engagement is between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. In the evening.
Fantastic. So you have a structure to follow it, but then you tweak it on a monthly basis. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What kind of character count of your descriptions on all social media? It's up to 200, 200 to 400, or more than 400?
2 to 400 based on the post, because some are very informational posts, which we need to really share information about, say, health or nutrition values of Makhana, right? So we do go beyond between 200 to 400.
Okay. How many customer testimonials you publish in a month? More than 6 per month, 3 to 6 per month, or less than or equal to 2 per month?
Here we've not published customer testimonials.
Okay. Very important, sir. Do you use tools for managing content creation and distribution? It could be either you have built your own team or you use online tools.
No, within the social media team does it.
Okay, so I'm probably giving the three the equivalent to tools that you have, so that is fine for it. Now the last one. Sorry for taking time, friends, on the webinar. Just few more questions. How many followers on social? In terms of the native channels outreach management, okay, how many followers on social media platform today? You have more than 5,000. It's combined, both Instagram. I'm only restricted to Instagram and Facebook right now. Subhashish, more than 5,000, 2,000, 2,000?
No, we would be less than about 2,000.
Okay. The reason why it's important is, you need to have a threshold for us to have a better reach so that your paid marketing does not kick in. Percentage of website clicks from social channel, do you track that, Subhashish?
Yes, we do. We do through Shopify.
Okay, so it's like, what's the percentage, Is it more than 50%, 20 to 50%?
About 20 to 50%.
Okay, great. Next question is that what average percentage of views per story you get compared to total followers? Do you track that metric?
Average percentage of?
Percentage average reach per post, views of per story compared to the total followers. What is the percentage views per story you get?
Percentage views per story. I normally track the posts, the views on the post.
Okay, so I'll just put 2 here. Average post per reach, more than 10%, 6 to 10%, less than 6%.
About 6 to 10%.
Okay, great. Last few questions. What the difference between customer reviews that you get and the response rate? How quick you respond to the customer reviews?
Immediately. We are very proactive with the customer response because that's the most important part of it.
Perfect. How many post views do you receive on Instagram through hashtags? Do you track that?
How many post views?
Because of hashtags. Instagram.
Oh, yeah. So we do about, it's between 2 to 5%.
Great. That's an important thing that you can track in Instagram. Great, you're doing that.
Yeah.
When you're publishing social media, do you share a link from YouTube or publish it natively? Any videos that you do?
We don't do videos as yet.
Okay, I'll put 0 here. Marketplaces outside of NuttyFox, do you have any place in any other marketplaces you have your products published selling on?
Yeah, we have one Big Basket, Amazon, Qtrav, LBB.
Between 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other strategies that you use outside? You said like you have your product listed on Adda groups or some other like SoulSante, 100 Ants, some other guerrilla strategy that you use to reach the audiences. Do you use that or you're stuck?
Yes, we do.
That. So great. So with that, you have a score of about 70, Subhashish. It doesn't reflect anything. It just gives you guidance that, probably a time to invest a little bit on paid media so that you get a better reach and engagement. And probably invest more time in us to like Insta Store and few other things. So this is how we arrive at a score, Subhashish. I don't know whether this reflects into what you perceive your brand and the work you do. I'll leave you to comment on that piece, but please go ahead and put your comments, sir.
The comments on?
How do you reflect on the score that you get?
It's pretty accurate, I would say, because obviously we've been trying to increase our social media ads, the presence, the engagement rates that needs to go up, and the conversions that need to happen is something that we're focusing on right now. But you're right, the blogs need to be up more regular. The customer reviews need to come on, and we need to make sure that the metrics are tracked for stories as well as the posts.
Fantastic. I think on behalf of all the audiences who have been patiently listening, thank you so much, Subhashish, for taking this test. I will
thank you so much, Shivram.
Gesture. So this is how we sort of help the companies to do their DRQs, and then once we have a DRQ of more than 80, then we actually move them to the DAQ, which is digital amplification quotient, which is where we probably spend more money to have better reach and better conversions. So with that, we are dot on time. I was supposed to close it at 4:45. We are late by 2 minutes. Apologies for that. With this, I introduce my team, as I told you: Akansha, Vinod, Atul. With that, Arunima, thanks for all the audiences, and I'll leave the forum to any questions, please.
Thank you so much, Shivram, and Shubhashish also to participate in this. It was a very interesting exercise for us to actually observe. And Shubhashish, there were a few questions for you also based on the exercise. I think we can now move to the audience interaction, Shivram.
Yes, please. So I have Q&As and chat. Should I be looking at the chat or the Q&A? I think I got a few questions.
The Q&A, I can read them out for you, so you can focus.
I'm there. Don't worry, Anurima.
Okay.
I'll take the questions. So I have a couple of questions from Dr. Ankita Bali. Can we get this template of this? Yes, we'll have nice to forward to the members. Do you have a score sheet or checklist like this for ventures that are in the service sector? Yes, we prepare these score sheets and templates specific to industry. This was primarily designed for a larger number of audiences who are into e-commerce business. But yes, Dr. Ankita, you can ping us to us and we can share a score sheet which is specific to your industry. What kind of key deliverables for a digital marketing agency month on month? Good question. This is a question from Sweta Grandi, if I pronounce it correctly. What percentage can be spent on digital marketing with respect to sales? Honestly, I don't have an answer for this, Gandhi. I would probably be doing a guesstimate. I think what's more important is a process and a structure for us to follow, right? I think where a lot of either is an agency or an entrepreneur who fail is that they do a lot of spray and paint, right? Let's try it. There are few metrics which needs to be given time to mature. There are few metrics that needs to be tracked on an quite a small interval of time. I think if you structure your process of engaging with audiences on social platform with a framework, you will be optimizing your time, effort, and money that you're going to spend on. How much percentage there is no one answer for that. It could be as low as about 5%. It can go up to 50%. It depends on multiple other factors. But I strongly request to follow a framework and a process that you follow your social marketing. How do we assess the capability of a DM agency? I didn't understand that question. So if you can retype the question, I'll probably able to answer. I have some questions on hashtags. I think I'll have Atul to take this question on hashtags. Dr. Ankita, if you can put the questions, we can have Atul to take the questions. These different packages that are suitable for starters. Again, Ankita, Rego, I didn't know what kind of packages means. I didn't understand. If you can just elaborate the question. For a startup brand, what would be optimal monthly budget? We discussed about that of marketing to be outsourced. Again, Kavita, I think it's not about how much money you want to spend on marketing outsourcing. I think there are a lot of agencies who are working on outcome metrics today with a very nominal execution cost, and then they're going to put their skin in the game and grow along with you. So you'll be able to can work well with agencies in that model. How do we ensure consistent communication and brand language with in-house team agencies? Great question, Shruti. I think use tools, please use right tools. Keep your in-house team to be constant learning curve. I always tell my team too, the better we achieve or greater we achieve is not with what we know today, is with what we don't know today. I practice it religiously. What I know today, I can only achieve so much. If I have achieved actually better tomorrow, it's with what I don't know today, which means that I need to be in this constant learning curve. These entire social media people are all millennials, mostly people who found iHire or people available in the market. They think they know a lot. I think our constant grounding for them to be updated, understand the brand, understand the audience, have a structure in communicating to them will help much better output than just spray and paint. Here we are not running campaigns to win awards. Here we are trying to run campaigns to connect the audience. I have observed the top content in my segment and have observed more than 20 hashtags in all Instagram posts. Most of the experts suggest 2 to 5. Yes, I will take the question on hashtags in 1 second. What would be so? Atul, there are few questions on hashtags. Do you want to quickly address audiences broadly about usage of hashtags? Where can they find the relevant hashtags and how much they should use on Facebook and Instagram, please? To you, Atul.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Shivram. Can we also go to the slide where we have defined the number of hashtag usage per platform?
Sorry, Atul.
Can we go to the slide where we have defined the number of hashtag usage? Yeah, just above the ads.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at a question from Dr. Ankita, where she has asked that she has observed more than 20 hashtags in all Instagram posts. Most of the experts suggest 2 to 5. So yes, for any social media, right? Here's the problem with hashtags. Hashtags is going to help promote your brand to more people. It is going to reach. It's going to give you impressions. But the moment you start overdoing it, the moment you increase your hashtags more than the ideal amount, the Facebook platform, the social media platform start tagging your post or page as spam. So we need to be very cognizant how many hashtags we are using, which is why what we have done here is we have given you an ideal hashtag count per platform, and that is what you should sort. That is this is again an ideal scenario. It could go +2, +3, -1, but it's always advisable to keep it between up to 10 for Instagram is fine. Hashtags no more than 2 on Facebook is needed. Maybe you can do 4 and 5, but not at a higher frequency. And for Twitter, ideal is 2. Twitter is anyways having a huge character count deficit. So we don't want to sort of play around too much with the hashtags there. So this is the ideal hashtag count that you should have. Yes, Shivram.
Just to add to that, to Atul, I think two important thing is that a lot of entrepreneurs have there are two kind of hashtag: brand hashtag and trending hashtag. So we want to use trending hashtag so that we can ride the trend that's available. And over a period of time, we want to build our own brand hashtags. So never have more than 1 or 2 brand hashtags because it needs time to build it to get audience and get popularity. And use the trending hashtags again, very contextual. And have it more inclusive in terms of trending hashtags. Don't be very myopic in terms of the hashtag so the reach will be lesser. Okay, I'll move to the next question. I have a very interesting question. 2 questions I want to pick up. Mr. Chetan Tejaswani, Mr. Sorry. Couple of questions. As an entrepreneur, how important it is to know that do digital technology? Do we have to learn stuff or just hire? My experience is that I run an agency. I have a team of about 30 people who are into digital marketing. I'm not from a digital marketing background. I'm a sales background, but I learn myself because, as I told you, the first 2 slides, right? Audience, we are like magicians, right? When we're trying to do a magic in a kid's birthday party, nobody is interested to watch us. They're interested with their popcorns, their marshmallows, their goodies, coffee. I mean, their friends. So it's important for us to understand what is the team doing. So it's very important for me to know the tools, the frameworks. So I would suggest that please learn. Please learn. There are enough and more material available on internet today for free consumption for you to learn. Put a structure framework that suits your business, and then use your team, whether it is freelancers, agencies, or you hire into full-time team. You have a better control on expecting the outcomes from these people. Because a lot of people will come back and say, I gain more followers, I gain more engagement, but it may not make any sense to you guys. So you as an entrepreneur should know what that engagement and that reach means to you as a business. So for that, you need to do a little bit of study and keep yourself updated on that. Other question is that any social strategy for rural audience? Very important question. I think that's where social is going to take India forward, push social into the rural sector. Massive economy in India. I think that few things I have been part of, been privileged to be part of rural audience reach. I think the key is empathy, right? I think the entire content reach to rural audience has to be extremely empathetic. Great use of vernacular, great use of connection to audiences in terms of their problems and pushing on our product and services. I think if you're able to do that and have good audio visual content, you'll have a better resonance to those audiences, especially the rural audiences. Do we have published the same post across channels or publish different posts? From Maushmi, I suggest it's okay to publish the same post across channels, but please read what is the purpose. Every post has an intent, and every post is part of the larger scheme, right? So if you have your content calendar defined based on instructional, informational, promotional, and emotional, I think you can tweak it. First of all, you need to resize that to the right format. A lot of people just make one post and put it in all platforms. Please don't do that. And if there are certain posts where the audience's consumption may not be relevant, please don't put them on, say, a post which is very specific for Instagram may not be a great post for LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, you can probably plan a different post. just because you are on LinkedIn, you don't need to crowd that post also on LinkedIn. You exist in different platforms for a specific purpose, so use that effectively. Would you rate better videos or still posts? I think both. Videos do, if videos are done well and it connects emotion, please do video post. If you are smart enough to make good video post, things like customer testimonial. Again, don't make customer testimonial just like an boring, dry sound bite, right? Let them emotion come from the customer. I think I've seen a lot of customer testimonials which are just very monologue. So if you can make it a little bit interactive, videos will definitely be better. It's great to consume video content, but still nicely done, good a way in which you communicate it back to people. Still post also will give good results to on social platform. Your view on WhatsApp for tool for marketing in areas of WhatsApp is an outreach tool. It's an interaction tool. So you can integrate WhatsApp for business on your e-commerce platform, your website, your social platforms. Absolutely fine. It's a way to engage with audiences. It's in the last place where you are actually transacting to audiences either as a transaction or as a customer service. Absolutely, please use WhatsApp for business because people consume or use WhatsApp more than any other application today. But please don't use WhatsApp to start pounding instructional and informational content. It doesn't work. You'll be spammed. People will start blocking you. Use it more for transactional based messages. What is the best SMM strategy for teleconsultation? If you can just a little bit more detail on what is teleconsultation and your business, I can answer, Ms. Anita. What are the best ways to use chat commerce on websites? I think it's, as I told you, we have actually even extended Twitter-based commerce platforms for e-commerce platforms. Vidya, it's an absolutely great place for us to use chat commerce. People are comfortable today to use chat commerce. Use the right technology, use the right platform for you to use chat commerce. We have seen actually customers getting benefited from chat commerce. Arunima, if I have missed any questions, because I'm reading both from the chat and Q&A, please guide me.
Yeah, Shivram, I would also request if we can maybe take a last few questions.
Perfect.
Right? Okay, Sweta also asked, I think you've answered it, but she asks WhatsApp as a tool for marketing and how we can enhance it.
We just spoke about it. I think.
Yeah, we just tool. Did.
Yeah.
Right. Shivram, just a question, how does one, I think this may call for a more focused and longer discussion, but how do people identify what is a suitable B2B platform for them, is there a way to,
B2B
is there a process
platform or a B2C platform?
B2B platform, which platform is, so this is a question actually from Hargovind, which platform is suitable to target B2B audience?
It depends on what is the service. If it is a product based, so you have at one end for a B2B, you have a marketplace like IndiaMart, great platform for lead generation. You have platforms like LinkedIn to establish thought leadership. You have tools in LinkedIn to do prospecting. In fact, even if it's a B2B, certain kind of B2B businesses can even use Facebook as a platform to communicate and gain some good quality follower base to that. So I would say there are good marketplaces for B2B, both India and abroad. Very strong leverage of LinkedIn for thought leadership, and use Sales Navigator for lead prospecting. Use Facebook to certain B2B to gain right mindshare from audiences from an brand positioning standpoint. So that's what I would suggest. But if you have specific to your business, you can DM and I can take the question offline.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll just maybe wind up with this one last question for the audience. That is, where can they learn more about all of these digital marketing hacks, tips? Can they read somewhere? Can they watch some videos? Is there a particular one source to go to, or is it more try out and figure it out yourself kind of a thing?
I would say great question. I'm in the same journey, right? I mean, when I see it, my great specialists like Atul, Akansha, and Vinod, I have this constant challenge that how will I learn myself, keep myself abreast to these people. I think the best way is there's nothing. It's a digital ocean. There's so much to learn. I think pick your battles that you're going to win, right? What you want to learn, put your structure of learning. So this month I want to learn primarily on what kind of content types will work better. I want to learn on how do I metaphorically write content that interests my audience. And then you go and choose those kind of platforms, those kind of tools to learn. Today, availability of information and learning mechanisms is in zillions. I think where we are all failing is we want to learn everything in one day, right? So put your learning calendar, right? So like this month, I've made myself to learn certain tools of Adobe. That's it. I'm not learning anything else. I'm learning everything on Adobe. So next month, probably I'll learn something on video processing, right? So I think and once you know that, you'll be easy to discover the platform on which you get good content. I think Arunima, you said this is the last question.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yes, sure.
I'll just stop sharing for a moment. As I told you, I wish you all the guys a very great time in terms of taking your brand forward. With this, we as Zamsters are tied up with NICE to do our what we call digital clinic. I think we will send communication on that in different ways to reach all of you guys. Arunima will share my email ID. So any questions, please feel free to shoot us. And I think we are right on time. Thanks for all of you to patiently hearing us. And thanks to my team, Akansha, Atul, and Vinod to joining in. Off to you, Arunima.
Thank you so much, Shivaram, Atul, Akansha, Vinod, Ashish, everybody who took out time on a Friday evening, and to our audience, who stayed with us throughout the session. I think some very important points that were covered here, that how to identify your social media platform, how to identify your target audience. It's very important before we spend our time and energy and, be all over the place. It's important to build an emotional connect with the audience, especially in a field like ours, where we are supporting, we have a cultural element to it that connects with people. So why not take it to the larger audience in a more effective way, using videos, using effective messaging. Be very careful between spamming and meaningful audience engagement. I think that's very important as well when we're starting out and we're excited to do so much. With that, once again, thank you, everybody. We will be sharing a feedback form after this session. It would be great if you could fill that up. I'll also share more details about the digital clinic. Please do look up the program, make the best use of this opportunity, and of course, take your brand to greater digital heights. Thank you so much, Shivaram, and we hope to have you with us. Thank you so much. Namaste, everybody.
Bye.